Hey guys, it's the Minecraft Sauce here today doing something pretty exciting. I'm going to teach every one of you how to make a Minecraft character rig, and how to make a scene, and then how to animate it all into a full animation. So here we go. I'm going to assume you know absolutely nothing about Blender 2.66a. That's just the version. This is an animation software that is completely free. You can go to www.blender.org and download the latest version, which seems to be 2.67, but it should be about the same. Let's start display. Okay, so now you can see every one of my commands, and I'm going to teach you just how to kind of basically go around Blender. So holding the middle mouse button down, you can rotate around your scene. If you hold shift and then your middle mouse button, you can pan around it, and you can zoom in and out using the middle mouse button. Now, if you press 5 on your number pad, and if you don't have a number pad, you can go into File, User Preferences, Input, and emulate number pad. You can just use the top row on your laptop if you click this and save user settings. Or if you don't have a mouse, you should probably have a mouse for Blender since it's really useful. You can just click Emulate 3 mouse button and hold Alt and then click and then have the mouse button be that way. Okay, so press 5 on your number pad to go into User Ortho, and then press 1 so that we're in front ortho. Basically, we can just see this square face here, and this will be our head. But first, I want to teach you just the basic commands that'll help you build the base model of the character. So, pressing rotate will rotate the cube, but it doesn't always rotate it where you want it to go. So like, if you press R and then Z, you can rotate it on the Z axis. Now the axis works as the green one is Y, the X one, or the red one is X, and then the blue one is Z. So if you want to rotate it on the Y axis, which is along this green line, you just press R and then you press Y. And it's the same thing for the others, R, Z, and then RX. Now going back into front ortho by pressing 1 on my number pad, you can also size this way. So press S to size, and then you can press any one of the axis numbers like Z or X or Y to see size on that axis, just like that. So now I'm going to also, the last one you need to know is grab. So press G and you can move the cube anywhere. Also, if you press G and then Y, you can move it this way, GX, GX, that way. Or you can just use these, but we're going to be using the grab command quite a lot in Ortho, since we only have one face to worry about. Okay, now we're going to actually start building your Minecraft character. Now that you have all the basic knowledge of how to navigate in Blender, we can click this little magnet down here. Basically, it snaps to the grid of Blender, so we can have these little squares acting as pixels. Now, everybody knows a Minecraft character's head is 8 pixels by 8 pixels by 8 pixels. At least, if you've ever created a skin, you should know that. So, just press S until your cube is about, okay, press S and then Z, and then it should be 8 pixels high, SX, 8 pixels wide, so that would be about there. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there we go, 4, 4, 4, 4. And then press 3 to go into right ortho. We obviously need to fix this, so S and then Y, and then there we go. We've got 8 by 8 by 8. Now just do Shift D to duplicate it and bring it about 2 squares below the head. Then press S and then Z, and then size it, and it should be about 12 pixels high, which is the torso. Then press 3, S, Y, and it should be 4 wide. Then press 1, Shift D. Now we have our arm. We need to make the arm, so S and X and then the arm is 4 by 4 by 12, and the arms and legs are the exact same, so we can just shift D, shift D, shift D around until we have this, which is our Minecraft character. Now, going out of Ortho by pressing 5 again, we can see our scene. We're just going to right click this lamp and press delete, and then go into the world tab over here, and then click environment lighting, which will give us the most realistic lighting in Blender Render. Then if you press 0 on your number pad, you can go into the camera mode. You can just right click the boundaries of the camera and press grab to like move it around. But we've clicked this magnet so that it snaps to the grid, so we'll just kind of unclick that, and we'll go rotate, Z, bring it over here. There we go. And I'll put the snap back on, F12. So this is what our Minecraft character looks like right now. It's pretty plain, it's just white, and we really want a texture on it now, so that's our next step. If you go down here, there's this little tiny tab where you can pull out a new window. We're going to be using this new window for UV image editing. Basically, we can choose where we want what part of the texture or the skin on what part of the cube. So just go click this little 3D cube here and find UV image editor, and it should come up with your render result. By the way, rendering is F12, and we want to go image, open image, and then find your skin. I'm gonna have a hard time finding my skin because I never know where I put anything anymore. Here we go. So I found my skin. This is my skin right here. It's a pretty cool skin. I made it myself. And just right click this cube over here, press tab. This will go into edit mode. If you see down here, there's object mode, edit mode, sculpt mode. Go into edit mode, and then there we go. On this menu, mesh tools. If you don't have it, just press T. That's the shortcut to pull it up. And then find mark scene, unwrap, and then unwrap. And what happens is all of these appear on this screen right here, or it should. Now down here in the menu, we want to, as you can see, you can only select like one little point of the cube. We don't want that. We want to select a whole face. And once you do that, you can see the same happens over here. You have like your whole face. So if you don't have enough room, you can just scroll along this bar and then find, or you can just pull the window out this way a little bit more until you find the same thing that you found in this window right here. It's kind of like edge select, point select, and then face select. Let's do edge select. Okay, so this is already selected. We'll just press G, and we want to uncheck the magnet over here, and under UVs, click snap to pixels, and then press S so that we can size this down to about the face. And as you can see, it kind of didn't capture the whole face, so we'll just, since I have edges selected, I can just right click this one edge and then grab it. Now down here in viewport shading, we want to view the texture so far. So this shows the texture. As you can see, the rest of the head is not UV edited yet, except for the face, which we just did. Now we're going to go on to the next side and right click this, and then we have it here. So this would be right here. So grab, size, there we go, and that looks like it's right. Now let's just do under the chin, grab, S. This was actually my chin, but I thought it was like some sort of back of the head, even though this was the back of the head. Anyways, okay, now let's do the back of the head. And I know for sure this is going to screw up. It's going to be upside down, and as you can see, it's upside down. So we want to fix that, and the easy way to fix that is just go R and then rotate it until it's back to normal. Then do the same with this side. Just grab it, put it right here, S. Whoops. Just if you want to undo anything, you can just do Control Z. It's the same as any other program. Alright, so now we just need to do the top of the head, and then we can move on to the next part of the body. Let's size this down. There we go. We got the top of the head now, and the whole head should be complete. But if we press F12, it's still not there. So what we need to do to make it, to apply this UV editing and the texture onto this cube, in this window over here, we can scroll over a little bit, and we can click Material. Always make sure you have a new material on your cube. You should already. If you don't, I think you've done something wrong, but it's fine. Just create a new material. As you can see, we've got like this number 6 here. Basically, we duplicated all the cubes by doing Shift D, so this material, whatever we do to this material, it does the same thing to the body, which is just what we wanted. Okay, so in texture, delete the texture and create a new one. Alright? Where it says clouds, go select image or movie, and then on this little tab icon here, just find all me skin epic sauce. That's my skin, that's what I named it, and then click that. Change generated to UV, so like that's the coordinates, that's how it's going to lay out onto the cube. And then if we render this, it's blurry. And that's because this image is so small, it's only 32 pixels by 64 pixels. So what Blender automatically does is they do image sampling, which makes the image more realistic as long as it's higher resolution. If it's lower resolution, it just completely blurs the image. So what we want to do is we want to do unchecked interpolation and change the filter to feline and then F12. So now we have our perfect Minecraft head. Now just before I do the arm, actually go into edit mode. So like we're in object mode right now, so go into edit mode, and then once again it's mark seam, unwrap, and then unwrap. Alright, so I'm going to do the rest of this Minecraft body, and I'm going to pause the video and I'll see you. Okay, one more tip here actually. When you're UV editing and you come across this and you've only selected like one edge and you're too lazy to go select the whole face tool like this, just press B for box select, so you can basically select like the whole thing. So like I've only got one edge selected and I'm only on edge select. You can press B and then do that and then rotate like that. That's an easy shortcut tip that can help you finish your armature so much faster, or your UV editing so much faster. Now this part's important. You're gonna want to go into Ortho, press 5 to go into Ortho, and then 1 so that we can go into the front Ortho. We're gonna highlight the no, we're going to select the magnet down here again and just drag the parts away from each other so that it makes it easier. But this is actually required because when we do the armature, it helps it with weight painting. It's kind of difficult to explain, but just do this like what I'm doing here. I'm dragging the parts away from each other and just leave the torso in the exact same position. But this is what it should look like. You can maybe like drag the head a little bit closer or something. It's up to you. You can drag them all over the place, but as long as you put the armatures in the right places afterwards. Also, this helps with UV editing so that you can easily get the sides. So this would be like right here, and I want to uncheck the snap, and there we go. See, I've got edge select selected down here, so I can just grab an edge and then bring it down, and then that's how I roll. So I'll pause the video again. Now instead of UV editing this arm after you just UV editing, just finished editing this arm, you can just delete this arm over here and then right click this arm to select it and then do Shift D, and I have snap to grid on, which is helpful. And then there you go, you just have another arm that's with the same UV editing and the texture. And if we render this, you can see that it's perfectly fine. So I'll do the legs, and no, I'll do the torso first, and then I'll do the leg, and then I'll duplicate the leg, and then we'll move on to the next. Now here's something that you can run into where you're in edit mode, and you only have like one face of the cube selected, and then you go mark seam, unwrap, and then unwrap, and then the only thing you can really UV edit is that one face that you selected. So what I recommend doing is down here, click this little cube here so that you can actually select the back of these in one position. Because let me show you what happens when you don't select this. You can just press box select to select it, and then go back here and oh, it's not selected. But if you select this here, then you go box select, you can see the backing has been selected. Then you go mark seam, unwrap, and unwrap again. So yeah, I'm going to kind of go over what you can go wrong with and how to fix it. Obviously, after you're done selecting it, you might want to unselect that box so that you don't accidentally select like this down here, even though you're trying to select this face right here. So yeah. Alright, so I'm now finishing up my UV editing here. I just want to duplicate this. Also, if you right click after duplicating, there will still be an object underneath there. You just have to drag it out just like that. Alright, so now you've done your UV editing and you want to move on to the next step, which is armatures. This will make your character move in Blender just by clicking and then pressing G, and the whole arm will just move like you do in real life. So the very first thing we want to do is we want to go into object mode, which we already are, and do Shift C just to make sure your cursor is right in the center. Press space and then type in add armature. If you don't see add armature come up, make sure you're in object mode once again, because you are probably in edit mode and it will not show in edit mode. So we've got our armature created. It's kind of behind the head, but it's actually inside the head. So if we go in this tab, we can select X-ray, and then we'll be able to see it pretty clearly. After this now after we've created this armature, we need to go press tab to get into edit mode, and make sure the magnet is on for this step so that it snaps to the grid. So we've got our first head armature, and do Shift A to create another one in edit mode instead of going into object mode and creating a new one. Then I'm just going to go press Z to go into wireframe mode so it's easier to see the armature. So I'm just going to drag this down, press E to extrude. Alright, then do Shift A again, because we need a new armature. Do not do Shift D, or this will screw up your armature. You need to follow, like, whenever I do Shift A, you do Shift A. I'm not going to be, you can't duplicate any of these armatures, like, not even the arms. You have to go add a new bone. So Shift A, grab, rotate, grab this, put it in the middle, and then E to extrude. Oh, there we go. Same for the legs. Grab. Make sure you grab it by the actual body of it. Rotate. Grab. I'm just putting it into the center of the legs. Alright, Shift A. Rotate. Grab. I'm doing a lot of panning here too, just to help my view. Grab, extrude. There we go. So that was pretty quick. Since I'm good with Blender, I can easily navigate through the interface, and hopefully whatever I taught you, you will be able to easily do this too. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to press 3, and we want to kind of find our armature again. Actually, let's go into 3D user ortho, and right click this ball, right click this ball, right click this ball, and right click this ball. So that's what it should look like, and then press 3, and then press extrude so that we can extrude a new armature, and then go back into the ortho, kind of 3D ortho, right click, hold shift and right click to select multiple balls or armatures. And then what we want to do is we don't want this being connected. See, if we kind of move this, it's connected. We don't want that to be connected. So Alt P and then clear parent. So now it's no longer connected and they're two separate bones. Alright, so we're going to want to do the same thing. Let's do Shift C just to make sure our cursor is centered. We're going to do Shift A to add a new bone, and we're going to bring this down right about here, like where the grid meets. Alright, and then we're going to do that again just down at the legs. So one for the arm and one for the legs, then just press, then let's use our mouse wheel to kind of scroll around, and let's go press 1 and find these two bones that we created. So this one, hold shift, that one, and let's move it over here. Alright, let's do the same thing again. Make sure, I can't remember if I duplicated that or not. I hope not. No, I didn't. I don't think I would have. So, grab this, put it right here. Kind of make sure it's the same size. There we go. That's about right. Shift, grab, whoops, S. There we go. Alright, now let's go back into 3D mode and shift these two new bones, press 1 to go into front ortho, and drag it to the other legs. Alright, so this is what it should look like. If we press Z, we can see it. We're no longer in wireframe, and that's what it should look like. So, we're also going to need to create one last new bone by doing Shift A. I'm going to go back into wireframe mode by pressing Z. Rotate, grab it, bring it down here. There we go. So that's what it should look like. It doesn't have to be the exact same size as mine, but this bone is actually going to control all the other bones. So you can pretty much grab this down here and it will move the whole character. So here we go. We need to go into pose mode. So in edit mode, go Control Tab, and now we see the bone that we've selected is blue. So see this little bone right here? Click this first, and then hold Shift, and then click this bone. Then what we want to do is we want to go Control Shift C, and this brings up a certain menu. We want to click Inverse Kinematics, and then yep, that's how it works. And down here we need to find, in the bone tab, deselect deform, and then in the constraints, go click the yellow bone and then go into the constraints for the bones and change the chain length to 2. Now we're just going to quickly test this by unclicking the magnet snap to grid, and as you can see we've got a perfect realistic kind of like easier to animate arm. That's, yeah. So what we want to do now is we want to do that for the rest of the ones. So I'm gonna just repeat this step one more before doing the two bottom legs myself. I don't want this tutorial being too long. This will be the end of the part after I do this. So first, right click this, hold shift, right click the other one, Control Shift C, inverse kinematics, change the length to 2, and then down here, unchecked deform. Alright, so that's the end of part 1. Join me in part 2 where I finish off the armatures. Alright.